From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy. The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
And she just wants to ride with me. She's a fashion killer.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, feels like we've failed to talk about one important topic about the Alabama-Florida State game. We try to touch upon it. This coming season's also going to hinge on players that seemingly left better situations to come to Florida State. What could that possibly mean? And we look back on the hiring cycle that gave us Gus and Tony White. Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Shake it and take it, everybody. 260 milligrams of all-natural caffeine. That's what you'll take. And 0 milligrams of sugar. No sugar, all-natural caffeine, vitamins, nutrients, all in one bottle. You can take it everywhere you got to go. The gym, throw it into your carry-on bag, top drawer of the desk, break room, console of the car. It'll go wherever you got to go. And it'll make you go because it's Vitamin Energy. Clinically tested, clinically proven. It's the real deal. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it. Sip the juice. Warchant.com. The ultimate Seminole sports source. Lots going to be going on over on Warchant.com this week, Corey Clark, as we descend upon Charlotte, the Queen City, uptown, for ACC Kickoff 2025. It starts on Tuesday. We'll get on the road later today, some of us. Florida State will talk to the media on Wednesday. They're going to be going all day long from like 9 a.m. till past noon, just ripping and running, talking to people. You're going to want to know what they say. We'll distill it all down for you, only how we can, when we got people like Ira Schofel and Corey Clark to let you know what's really going on. What is really going on, Corey Clark? How are you, friend?
I'm good, buddy. Thank you for asking. I do appreciate that. I'm hanging out at my mom's right now, which is always fun. Yep, hanging out with my mom. I think, I'm not trying to jinx it, but pen meets paper today as far as selling my house up here in the
look at this
Gwinnett
guy.
County area.
Look at this guy selling his house in an absolute bloodbath for sellers, complete buyer's market right now. Good job, buddy. Did you have to give us details on it? Did you have to make a bunch of cuts, or was it just like maybe one or two and everything worked out, or did you just stay firm?
No, it was lucky. Again, I'm knocking on wood as I say this, but I mean I'm going to the closing tomorrow. So later today. So I think we're in the clear, but again, those are famous last words. But yeah, no, it was basically right what I asked for, and it was on the market for 13 days.
No, dude, that's incredible right now.
Maybe I priced it too low, is what I'm thinking.
No, well,
I cost myself some money, but who knows? But anyway, so I'm happy about that. But yes, and then I have to go find another place to live up here for the next year while my son finishes out his high school career up here in greater Gwinnett County.
Buckhead, baby. Let's get a high-rise in Buckhead.
Well, no, that's a little too far to drive for Brady in the mornings. So I'm going to try to stay around his high school. Okay. But yeah, once he's out of high school, I'm going to have a high-rise apartment in pretty much every city, every major city. That's how I'm going to roll.
Awesome. Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. Don't forget Jeff Cameron's show. They will also be originating live. I shouldn't say live, but they'll be originating programming from Charlotte during ACC kickoff on Radio Row. So will we. Again, we'll get Norvell and players on Wednesday. And by we, I mean Corey's doing the interview with Mike Norvell. I'm still in purgatory. Self-appointed.
Are we getting anybody on Radio Row?
Dude, no. So Florida State is they're going to talk to the local media at 9 a.m., and then they're going to do all their national rotations the rest of the day. So they go from like 9 to noon. Every other team, so they're like Stanford's going Tuesday, but Frank Reich was booked, so they're giving us an offensive lineman on Tuesday. Pitt is going through their rotations like at 9 a.m. on Radio Row, so we can't do anybody from Pitt. Virginia's SID I got his out of office. That is, he was out of office and not getting back until Monday, so we'd probably not get anybody from Virginia. And then who else? I think Wake Forest. Wake Forest never got back to me. They were trying to get their coach and one of their players and never heard back from them. So, yeah, we're not going to be getting a lot of other people. But who knows? We'll see. If there's people floating around, maybe I'll be able to use my glare to be like, hey, you stop, sit down, pull up a chair. But, yeah, so what? We got Daryl Jackson, Earl Little Jr., Tommy Castellanos, and Mike Norvell.
But will we get them on Radio Row?
Yeah, we should. Yeah, I mean, They didn't give me
I want to make sure we at least got our own little one-on-ones with them.
Yeah, we should. I mean, I emailed the folks at FSU, and they said they're putting everything together. So, and I let them know, I'm like, Corey's going to talk to Mike, and then I'll just talk to the players.
Good,
so,
there you go, buddy. Good work.
You gotta know how the deal is. Corey, as we sit here, I should have the amount of days until August 30th in front of me, but I don't have that because that would take too much time.
I'm going to say it's 40 days. Okay. I'm going to say it's 40 days.
All right, good at math, this guy. That's why we keep him around. Is there anything that you don't think we've talked about when it comes to this Alabama game? I think the one thing that I have failed to bring up, and it was a point of mild contention for me this weekend, was I really think we're discounting, I guess, maybe the impact of year 2 of Kalen DeBoer. I know what makes me feel optimistic for Florida State's chances is that it's going to be a first-time starting quarterback. I don't know if Ty Simpson, I don't think he's ever started a game. I think he's mostly seen action and cleanup duty. So he's going to be starting his first ever career game on the road, hostile environment, and against a team that's going to be really motivated to show the nation just how far they've come along. So you feel like that's a potential snake pit for a guy making his first ever start. But, man, when you look at Kalen DeBoer and what he's done everywhere he has been, and we don't have to go all the way back to Sioux Falls, but if you look at what he did to Indiana with Michael Penix, who was a nobody, and then what happened to Michael Penix after he left. When Penix went down, Peyton Ramsey was a guy that he inserted into the lineup. You look at what that kid did after he transferred out of Indiana, not a lot. Jake Haener at Fresno State had like 33 touchdowns, 9 picks under DeBoer. DeBoer leaves, and then he drops down to like 20 touchdowns. And obviously what Penix did at UW, right? Milroe, arguably, though, regressed in 1 year under Kalen DeBoer. Yeah. But I think this is going to be such a national narrative to make the right choice. That they hire the right coach. And I don't know how much that's going to motivate a guy like Kalen DeBoer, but are we talking enough and factoring in enough just how good of a coach he is and what year 2 of a program build, how vastly different it could look at a program like that with a coach like that?
I mean, I just think Florida State's kind of got its own issues when it comes to head coaching in proving something that I don't know that I'm just explaining why that hasn't really come up is because we're kind of very singularly focused on the team we talk about and not that much about how good or not Kalen DeBoer is. So, yeah, he did well at Washington. He was there for 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. But, he didn't. Did he develop Penix, or was Penix developed in Indiana?
Well, he was at
Penix
Indiana
some
with
guys
Penix.
to throw to.
He was with.
Oh, that's
Penix
right.
Indiana,
yeah.
So.
Yes, right. So he got his own quarterback, took him to Washington, did really well with him at Washington, took over somebody else's quarterback, like he's going to do this year, kind of, right?
Yes.
Like Simpson he didn't recruit Simpson.
No.
Yeah, so he didn't do great with Milroe. And is he? Let me put it this way: if Alabama goes 8-4 again this season, or somewhere in that neighborhood, going to be a whole lot of people saying the same stuff about the Kalen DeBoer Michael Penix relationship that a lot of people might say about Mike Norvell, Jordan Travis. Like, oh yeah, you won with a great quarterback, but without Penix, you've just been kind of eh. Now he did win 9 games last year, not 2, so he has a leg up on Norvell going into this game. But me personally, man, when you brought up the things we're not talking about, and we can get back to DeBoer. I know that's where you wanted to go.
No, it's fine.
But as you were talking, I'm like, you know what? The thing I don't think we talk about enough is how bad Alabama was on the road last year. It's a lot of different. It's a different team. I know it's a different coordinator, different coach. They played 5 true road games last year. They went 2-3.
Yikes!
Lost at Vanderbilt. Lost at
Oklahoma,
Tennessee, and lost at Tennessee. Yeah. And the Oklahoma game was disgusting.
It was horrible.
24-3.
That was a bad Oklahoma team.
But what's crazy about it is they did win 2 games on the road, and they absolutely bludgeoned Wisconsin 42-10, and then absolutely bludgeoned LSU 42-13. So if Alabama's going to win on the road with Kalen DeBoer, they are going to blow you out. If it's a close game on the road or anything like that, they're going to lose. That's if we're going to use that small sample size of last year. So I do think the one thing, yeah, he was good at home. I don't think they lost the game at home.
Well, they
with
should
him
have
last year.
Shouldn't they have lost to South Carolina? Didn't some crazy stuff happen?
Yes, that was close. Yeah, that was a close game. You could make the argument if Carson Beck doesn't turn it over a million times, they should have lost to Georgia at home too. Those are nothing to sneeze at. Being in close games with Georgia and South Carolina, but he doesn't have a record yet of winning. And say what we want about the stadium, what it's going to be like or feel like in that first game. It'll feel like an SEC road game. It'll certainly be a harder place to play than Vanderbilt was.
Oh yeah,
Doak Campbell Stadium. So if we're I don't know how many points the Vegas gives to road games now. I don't know. It used to be like 4 points. I thought maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's less. I don't know. But you are gaining some points because it's going to be at Doak, and this should be a really tough place to play. Hopefully, it'll be a good team that Alabama's playing. But if nothing else, it should be a tough environment for a first year starting quarterback in a program that isn't. We see Alabama and we still think of Alabama. Obviously, it's the best program. It's been the best program in the country for almost 20 years now. But those kids on that team, they shouldn't be walking in barrel-chested and shoulders high as if they've accomplished much by Alabama standards. So, you get a lead on them early, like a 10-0, 17-6 lead in the second quarter. Let's see how they respond to that. Like that, it could be a kind of here we go again. We're losing on the road again. This guy can't win on the road. Just like if Florida State gets behind 10-0 or 17-6, it'll absolutely feel like here we go again. That's why I think it's a really fascinating. It's much more fascinating than if Saban was still the coach and you just knew Alabama murder ball juggernaut was coming in. It's a steamroller. Good luck, everyone. They're going to win, and they're probably going to win comfortably. There are some real question marks for both of these coaches and both of these programs, and it's really kind of a huge game for both of them. Honestly, I think
absolutely.
bigger for DeBoer in that if he loses, he could really be losing his grip on that job. They're not going to take another 5-loss season very well at Alabama. Norvell kind of has a bit of a leeway in that if his team just is competitive, it'll be a step up. You know what I mean?
You're right.
So he's got a little bit of an advantage there, and he's got the home field. So it's got to be an interesting game, Aslan. We only got 40. What did we say? 41? 40 days left.
40 days left. Yeah. I was going to try to make some kind of extrapolation from this that they don't handle big pressure games. Well, not big pressure games, but coming off success and managing it and just handling the pressure because. They lost at Vanderbilt after they beat Georgia, but you would figure if they had problem dealing with big-time games, they would have folded against Georgia. But that Georgia game was probably one of the 5 best games of last season, and then they follow that up with kind of a dud against Vanderbilt. The Tennessee game, that was nip and tuck the whole way. They had chances to win that game and just couldn't find a way. Then the Oklahoma game, they were crawling and climbing their way back into the college football playoff discussion. They're a 2-loss team, but if they win out, they deserve it, blah, 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 right? So that was, can they win out and beat Oklahoma and then win the Iron Bowl? And then they just absolutely laid an egg in Norman. It was incredible. I mean, that was a terrible Oklahoma team last year by their standards, by most Power 5, blue blood level, Power 4, whatever we're doing these days, status. So that is another interesting kind of dynamic at play here. But yeah, just I was just thinking about that because when I was doing the top 10 with, I think, was it you and Ira, or maybe
wasn't me? I know that.
I think it was probably Ira and Matt then, or no, Tom. It was Tom and Ira. So 6 through 10 on the composite, Corey, was 6 Gavin. Well, I should go the other way. Squirrel White 10, Elijah Herring 9, Micah Pettis 8, Jeremiah Wilson 7, Gavin Sawchuk 6.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, these are the guys that you look at where they came from, and you assess how important the season's going to be, and it's going to hinge on guys like that. Because there's times where I literally will sit and think to myself, Corey, that this team can win 10 games probably. I really think if everything goes right, not to a improbable degree, but if a lot of things go right, you get a break here or there, I could see this team win 10 games. But then I'm like, we've got the number 10 most valuable, impactful player on this team, a guy that's been banged up his whole career practically at Tennessee, knee injuries, arm injuries, Elijah Herring on his 3rd different school, played a whole bunch of football. Like if you were really great or really solid, you probably would be in the NFL by now. Micah Pettis walks away from a really successful program at Ole Miss. Jeremiah Wilson, again, played a lot of football, had a good stat line. Figured he might be able to parlay that into going to the NFL draft, ends up still playing college and wants to move to a third different program. Gavin Sawchuk gets passed up by Jaden Ott from Cal, who was banged up last year, but Oklahoma went and over-recruited him. Like, you factor in all these things that could go right, but then is this the stuff that needs to go right? Players like 6 through 10 live up to the vast potential that we think they have, or is it going to be like more granular things that have to happen within the course of a game to quote-unquote make this year go right?
Well, yeah, that's a big question, Aslan. I think that when you list those, when I hear those 5 names, that kind of gets me excited about what this season can be. Again, I don't.
Sorry. I was giving that was a very cynical look at things. That's all I was saying. Like I can be very optimistic. I can be very optimistic and think they can win 10 games, but then I also think about, man, we're going with a motley crew of mercenaries really to battle every single week here, and it could work out.
Motley Crew, to me, Motley Crew makes it sound like they're guys that weren't wanted or didn't produce at their former schools. I mean, you're talking about Herring, who has 200 career tackles. Squirrel White had 60 catches in an SEC season. He's played in a playoff game. Sawchuk had 5 100-yard games in a row in the Big 12. Pettis started for 2 years at Ole Miss in the SEC, and I can't remember who the other one was. But Jeremiah Wilson, who was he was an honorable mention or second team All Big 12 cornerback. So you're talking about guys that have done it at a big level. Maybe not elite. They're not necessarily Sunday players, but they're good Saturday players. I don't think you would any of those guys that we just talked about, those 5 in particular. Wouldn't you say all of them? Every single one of them is a good college football player. Not great, not elite.
Right.
And frankly, I don't care what they do on Sunday if they ever get drafted. What they've proven so far into their 21st year on earth or 22nd years on earth is that they can play college football at a pretty good level, pretty high level.
I'd say above average. I wouldn't even say average college football
you didn't
players.
have that last year. Really anywhere. You had other than Azarie Thomas. I don't know that you had an above-average player on your football team. Who is it? Am I missing someone? Fitzgerald and Mastromano. They were great. You had an above-average cornerback who ended up being a third-round cornerback. Maybe Peyton.
Was Farmer.
Or I guess Farmer and Jackson were above average. So out of 22 starters on offense and defense, I would legitimately say 3 of them were above average college football players.
We didn't say that a year though. Well, 12 months ago, we're like they were starting 22. They're all great.
Well, and you also thought that Peyton was going to take a step. You thought Marvin Jones was going to be something, and he wasn't. Yeah. Maybe he'll end up being something somewhere else. But again, I think these guys are more proven. Obviously, I know that Squirrel White is more proven than Jaylen Brown or Malik Benson. And we know Pettis can play at this level. We know Herring is better than Sean Murphy. Yeah. So you've made it. But anyway, I wanted to go back to what the premise of the question was. I think it's kind of how I view the world, and maybe I need to start. Maybe I need to change my outlook on things because I just go into this season wanting to avoid catastrophe. That's literally my goal. It's like it's the way I view the world. I don't know why. Like if Brady has a baseball game, I'm kind of just like, man, just get a hit. Go 1 for 4. It's never like, man, I hope he goes 4 for 4 and hits for the cycle. I'm just like, get a hit, man. Do something well, or make a good play in the outfield. Just do something productive instead of like, I want him to hit 2 bombs and drive in 7. Yeah. This is kind of a me thing. But no, I don't know that this team is going to win 10 games. I certainly don't expect it to. But what I'm excited about is those names you mentioned, they raise the floor so much that it can't be a bad season as long as you stay healthy. I don't think this collection of players, though, in the collection of coaches, and if Castellano stays healthy, I just don't think a bad season is possible. Now the question is, what's a bad season? What do you think a bad season is? Because I think it's 6-6.
Yeah, with that schedule, this roster, that coaching staff, I think like 6 wins is a bad season.
So I don't think they're going. I shouldn't say it's possible. It is possible, obviously. I don't expect that.
Not probable.
Think when you hear I think when you hear those names, I'm looking more like that. This 8-win team. They are avoiding catastrophe with this collection of players. And maybe they can outperform what we think they're going to be. But they're not the most talented team in the country. They're the most talented team on their schedule. They're not the most talented team in the conference. But they are more talented and more experienced and more proven, more than anything. They're more proven than they were last year, and that fills me with hope that, like, man, I can enjoy an 8-win season. Like, hey, let's take it to golf and our man Scheffler, who just rolled through the field. Everybody needs to look at life like this guy. But I feel like McIlroy could enjoy that weekend. Right? He was at his home course. He finished in the top 10. He didn't win it. That's probably a little disappointing. He's Rory McIlroy. He doesn't go to majors to finish 9th or whatever he finished. But I bet on the whole, when he takes a step back, that was an enjoyable weekend for him. It certainly beats what Koepka went through. Like, Koepka can't make a cut anymore. So I feel like maybe let's view this season like McIlroy viewed the British Open. Like, hey, man, you'll take a top 10 finish. Like, you'll take it was enjoyable. It wasn't incredible. It wasn't an all-time memory. It wasn't one of the best tournaments he's ever played, and it's not something that'll be remembered long term. But in the immediate, it'll be nice to have an 8-win season again. It'll be nice to be in games in the fourth quarter. It'll be nice to, if things break a certain way, you could pull off this upset, and you're not going to be embarrassed. And I think this collection of players, when you're talking about those 6 and the previous 10 that came before those 6, and then obviously what we do with the top 5, man, I think you're looking at a team that certainly won't be embarrassed. It could be a pretty good one. Maybe they sink a few putts, and they go ahead and win the British Open, Aslan. Maybe that happens, but they're probably going to be like an 8-win team. But I can live with that this season and this season only. That makes sense?
Absolutely. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is located at 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Features daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. They're all delicious every single day. Comes with a side dish of your choice, too, that $8.99. Entree and a side dish, because they love you. Tuesday nights, trivia night. Corey Clark will not be there because he's going to have to get ready for
Charlotte, North Carolina.
That's right. That's right. Thursday night, bingo night, 4 different rounds, $250 cash money up for grabs in each single round. WNBA second half heating up. I'm sure maybe a game or two will be on the screens there. I think there's like women's Euro soccer going on right now. Baseball. Baseball's a thing.
Major League Baseball, I was going to say. There's a lot of Major League Baseball going on.
Major League Baseball. Whatever your diversion is, it'll be on the screens there at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Plus darts, pool, jukebox, live music on Friday nights. The working man's, the people's, the unofficial official sports bar of warchant.com, our favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, cptallybar.com, the website 2475 Appalachia Parkway.
And I'd like to remind people again, Aslan, that you go into so many sports bars in this town, in this country, honestly. Yes. Nobody knows how to change the TVs, and when they do, it'll take them 45 minutes to change to the game you're trying to watch. You go to Corner Pocket, you ask one of the friendly servers, hey, can I, and you could go it's just MLB. But if you're a Cardinals fan, if you're a Mariners fan, you want to watch Cal Raleigh play, you want to watch Cam Smith hit for the Astros, you go in there and say, can you put the Astros game on that TV? They do have the MLB package, so the answer will be yes. It's not just going to be the Marlins and the Rays on all the TVs. It might be when you get there, but all you have to do is ask a friendly server, can I switch that to the Cubs-Guardians game or to the Diamondbacks-Padres game, and they will do it for you.
Yeah, they're like, what channel? I don't know. This is your house. I don't know who your provider is. Don't ask.
And they're good at that. They're really good about putting the MLB packet, like the MLB. It's they have all the games on at once. One of those channels do. In each game where they show, it'll be like
the red
9
zone.
squares.
It's like red zone for baseball. Yeah,
but that you can see the channel of each game. So it'll be like the Dodgers and Diamondbacks are a small square.
Yeah.
But in that square, it'll say 736, and so the remote person knows, it's 7:36. Boom. It's that easy, everyone. It's that easy. And in the summer doldrums before football starts, it's all baseball. We're not watching Little League World Series now. We're talking about real big boy baseball, not that nonsense. And they'll get any game you want.
Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Let's continue to force the football here on Wake Up Warchant. We're presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. I wanted to get back to that mindset that you're entering the season with, Corey, as journalist, fan, father, who knows? Just an everyday man.
Right.
But like avoid
lover, as a lover.
There you go. Loving son to Sharon. But when you talk about like avoiding disaster, all these hires feel pretty much best case to a large degree for me, right? Like the Gus hire, Tony White, bringing Terrence Knighton along with him. Gus brings, his top lieutenant. So you look at all these things like, okay, man, this isn't just, filling the chairs on the Titanic or whatever as you're sinking. This is like making some real kind of big boy moves to stop things. Do you think there was any other hire out there theoretically that could have been better? That would have been a higher ceiling, higher possible, aspirations for this team this year than what they did? Is there any part of Mike Norvell that might have thought the same thing to a certain degree, Corey? Like, I just need to get the hell out of this hole I find myself in. And Gus, I know you, you know me, and I know Herb, and I know that we can make this work instantly. Like, do you agree? And he's like, yes. It's like, all right, let's go with it. Do you think there was ever maybe somebody else on his radar where he's like, man, if I get this guy and we connect this dot and that dot, man, we might be able to go right into competing for a national title? Because as much as they talk about being the number one offense this year, I think everybody in that room, although adults realize they probably won't, but they're going to avoid catastrophe disaster.
Well, that's what these hire, especially on offense. Like, look, I think, honestly, I'm not just saying this because this is the job I have. I don't know that there's another, or the school I cover, but who would you have rather had but Tony White? Like, whose resume was better that you could actually go get, that was gettable? I mean, you took a defensive coordinator, a successful defensive coordinator, from a Big Ten school. A Big Ten, well, they're not a power. They used to be a power, but Nebraska is a football school in the Big Ten. And you took their defensive coordinator, who they wanted to keep, and their defensive line coach, who they really wanted to keep. I don't know that you could. To me, we'll see how it works out. But to me, that grade is like an A+. Like that's a great hire, and I think that's a hire that people are envious of. Like, man, Florida State, especially Nebraska fans, and we'll see if Tony White works out here. But I don't know that if there's a list of 5 guys that you would that is like the perfect candidate after that debacle last year who you would want, Tony White's right there. I don't know how many calls they made before Tony White. He might have been the first one they called. Like, doesn't he strike you as that kind of that resume and that kind of prospect as a coach that you'd be like, that's the guy I want? And they called him and they got him, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only other person that I remember, showing up on a hot board might have been like a guy like Tyler Santucci, but he was at Georgia Tech. Feel like, Nebraska, probably a little bit more, big time expectations. And obviously,
and I think Santucci, it was his first year at Georgia Tech, right? Now, he did a really good job. They were much better than they were the year before, but I think it was his first year there. Tony White, I think, is a little more proven.
Yeah, and he's done it at 2 different schools. He's done it at 2 different schools, right? Yeah. So
yeah, he did it in the ACC. I think that's a great hire. I think that's absolutely was a slam dunk, grand slam, ace. I'm trying to think of spike. Do they call them spikes in volleyball, or are they kills?
Kills.
I think they're kills now. They don't call them spikes anymore.
You spike the ball, it results in a kill. Yeah, there you go.
Sub 4 minute, a hole in one. There you go. Nobody ever says a hole in one when they're talking about a great hire. Hole in one's an albatross. Get you a 2 on a par 5. Anyway, I think Tony White is that guy. I think when you shot for the stars and you got him, and the ceiling for him, he could be, a head coach in a couple years, and he could be one of the best defensive coordinators in the country, one of the best young defensive minds in the country, youngish. I mean, I think he's 40 maybe. He's not that young. Younger than us, though. On the other side of the ball, okay, man, that's the one where I know people have to be talked into it. I would just say when I talk about avoiding disaster, like Aslan prefaced this question with, Gus Malzahn is the perfect example of that. I don't know what his ceiling is now as a 61-year-old offensive coordinator. I don't know if he's going to be so innovative and just blow the ACC out of the water with all the Gus offense. I don't expect him to take the conference by storm and be unbelievable and be a head coach next year because he turns Florida State around with the snap of his fingers. I don't expect that. I don't know if there's anybody out there that could do that anyway. What I do know is that, again, he is not going to embarrass you. At the very least, a Gus Malzahn offense is a competent one and a physical one. Those are 2 things you know are going to be the case. It might not be that way August 30th, but come the Florida game and after the Florida game, hopefully, God willing, a bowl game, you will look back on the 2025 season and see what the Gus impact was. It might not be the best offense in the country. It almost certainly won't be. It might not be a top 10 rushing offense. It probably won't be. But it will be an offense that is productive, that is not an embarrassment, that is at the very, very worst, it will be average. In an average offense, you can win 7 or 8 games. So you know what I mean? I think he's still more of a, like, I think it's hard to say, like, is he less risky than Tony White? I don't know that. Because that implies that Tony White is risky. I think Tony White was a great hire. But Gus Malzahn has been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah, I think year one instantaneously, I give the edge to Gus. You give a guy 2-3 years, because I would assume, and I know there's a transfer portal, and that might come up at some point where, like, listen, they didn't have the right personnel to run this defense the way they needed it to. Well, how come they didn't address it in the transfer portal? A little bit of a time crunch in that first window. You figure, like, Tony White, if he sticks around for 2-3 years with the way they could recruit here, like, yes, to get the perfect amount of the right pieces to run his defense. Whereas Gus, it's like, you could give Gus an air raid team and give him like an off season, or give him a wishbone team or whatever. And I think he would be able to, have you bowl eligible at the minimum, which is not, which is what we would think a bad season. Again, it would be a 6-6 season with this team right now.
And I think with Gus too, man, like, he's done it. He did it in the realm that Norvell did it in. Like, he was at Tulsa, Norvell was at Memphis. They both had the number one offenses in the country as coordinators. The difference is, while Norvell had one very good team and one pretty good team at Florida State, his offense is not carried over to be like just a wrecking ball in the ACC. And in fact, last year it was the worst offense we've ever seen. So he's got a lot more question marks. Malzahn has done it at Tulsa. He's done it at Arkansas. He's done it at Auburn. He's done it at UCF. Now, I know he didn't get fired, but he quit to avoid maybe getting fired next year. I get all that. UCF was a disappointment. They also had quarterback issues. But the offense wasn't a disappointment, and the offense has been good every stop he's been at. It's either been good or great. I think he had like one kind of mediocre year at Auburn where they were bad by his standards. But if he can do it in the SEC and he can do it in the Big 12, he can do it at Florida State. He can do it at Florida State. He is not maybe going to be an incredible offensive coordinator, but I tell you what he is he, at the very least, he's a stopgap. He's the stop. He can right the ship. Like you just mentioned the Titanic. He can avoid the iceberg, man. Spoiler alert, everyone, if you haven't seen the movie. He's like 2 hours in. Great love story. Everything's swimming. It's perfect. Everything's great. Although Kate Winslet is playing a 16-year-old, which is really kind of creepy in hindsight. Like, why is she already engaged? She's a 16-year-old. That's how they rolled back then. She's also having relations in the car, under the deck, all that stuff. It's not great with some vagrant from France. But in the end, I just want you guys to know they are going to hit an iceberg at some point. It is going to get exciting, and Fabrizi's are going to die. That's my only accent I can do, Aslan.
That's solid.
It's from that movie. I'm a Fabrizi. I'm gonna die. There you go. Because that Italian accent was so over the top. It was so, and the guy they met, the Irish guy, just the most broad, ridiculous accents they could put on a ship. But a great movie, everyone. Go see it. I hope I didn't spoil it for you.
Did you see the Netflix documentary on the Titan submersible?
Yes, I did. Did you?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Absolutely nuts.
Crazy, creepy. The fact that it was making noises and popping as it was going down is insanity. And the only person I feel bad, certainly don't feel bad for the captain, the founder. Yeah. He went down with the ship, which is good. It's his fault. But everybody else, it's like, man, this is what you got. You knew there was a risk here. You knew this guy was kind of a wackadoo. You've got billions of dollars. You didn't have to do that. They're all incredibly rich, I believe, anyway. But what the billionaire's son, man, who did not want to go on the trip anyway, and was kind of talked into it by his dad, that's horrific.
Yeah. That's
horrific. That is an absolute tragedy. Everything else, maybe not. But that kid dying, he's like 19 or 18 or whatever it was, is really, really hard. But, yeah, it was funny that James Cameron – they interviewed James Cameron in that, right?
I don't know. Maybe they use archive footage. I don't know if he was actually like.
Then I've seen him on YouTube talk about it because once I watched that, all of a sudden my YouTube algorithm was all James Cameron talking about the sub that blew up. He's like, as soon as we heard that there was a loud bang in the instrumentation went out, we knew that they had imploded and they were all dead. We didn't say it on Good Morning America because we didn't want to freak people out, but everybody in the submersible world knew they were all dead. It's like, yikes.
Yeah. It was nuts. They said how far it was. Like they could hear the ping from like 8 miles away, and like that's the amount of pressure in which you were, brought to your demise. Also, I'm not spending all that money just to sit in some composite graphite tube with like towels and a wrestling mat on the ground. There weren't even like chairs. It was just we're all going to pack into this tube, and
it didn't look like there was great. There weren't great big windows to look through either.
No.
It wasn't like a boat where you can see, you go on these glass bottom boats and you can see all the fish swimming underneath you. No, man, there was like a little porthole. It's like, I don't know, man. I just watched the movie. The movie has real Titanic footage. Why do you got to go down there? Why don't they lift it up, Aslan? Lift it up and put it on display somewhere.
Too heavy, I guess. Too heavy.
And by the way, I don't know if people know this. I'm old, so I remember it. I remember when they found the Titanic. They had been searching for it for, I believe, like 70 years until some guy found it in like the mid-'80s.
Huh.
I'm almost positive that's what happened. It's like 84, 85, some guy in his submersible who survived went and found the Titanic. You would have thought it'd be kind of easy to know where it went.
Yeah.
Because they knew where the iceberg was, and they knew where it was, the latitude and longitude where they call it when they did the SOS. But it took them like 70 years to go find that. I guess they didn't have the technology to go deep sea fishing.
Back to football.
Yeah, you sure?
Yeah,
that's my fault, everyone. I got us off the wrong foot. I was talking about the Titanic. But back to that point, Malzahn will avoid the iceberg. Now he might still clip something. Let me put it this way. He might hit a bit of an iceberg, and you still have to get everybody rescued off the boat, but it's not going to be a tragedy. It's not going to be what the Titanic ended up being. He will avoid catastrophe. He just will. I am convinced of that. His offense will be a decent college football offense because that's who he is. So he's a safe hire. I don't know that he's a home run hire. And in fact, I don't think he will be. I could be wrong. Who would have known Pete Carroll was going to be a great coach at USC when he got his second chance? So nobody knows for sure how any of this is going to play out. But I'm very, very confident that Gus Malzahn will at least have an average to decent offense. I'm 100% confident of that. Tony White could be a superstar. I think that's the difference. I think Malzahn's superstar days have probably passed him. But he was a superstar at one time. And that dude is still in there, and he still has the passion for calling plays and running an offense, so they're going to have a decent offense.
I've got the original hot boards that we posted when the jobs came open. Obviously Brennan Marion, I think.
Yeah, but when I was talking about sorry to interrupt, but when I was talking about Tony White being your number one hire, I'm talking about like what other school hired someone better? Like who right now 100% has a better defensive coordinator than Florida State? If you're just going on the last 3 years, like who is absolutely 100% better at their job running a defense than Florida State's defensive coordinator? Like I feel like that's that's what I mean. Like I don't know who you would have called that was available, even if he didn't make a hot board because they weren't going to leave their school. I don't know how many people you think are better than Tony White. And I don't mean you. I mean the royal you.
I think he's got a better resume than Kane Womack, who's the defensive coordinator for Alabama, right? Kalen DeBoer had to create a whole new coaching staff because I think was Kevin Steele the defensive coordinator for Saban that last season? So he went and hired Kane Womack, who was, they coached together at Indiana. He was the head coach at South Alabama, Womack, and he left to go take the Alabama job. I think Tony White being a head coach is a really nice perk, and I think South Alabama's in the Sun Belt, so that's not a complete slouch of a conference. But yeah, what Tony White did at Syracuse, what he did at Nebraska, a little bit more impressive, I think, and that's who they went and got. And that was, to me, I think the first board that we had, his name wasn't even really on it. I think people were hoping that Charlie Partridge, I remember that was a name that floated out there, who had been coaching for the Colts, I think maybe last time he was actually coaching. He was in the college game coaching at Pitt under Narduzzi. Like, I wanted Zach Arnett, Corey. I'm looking at the list. Like, I remember I'm like, I want Zach Arnett. And I'm like, because he had to be the defensive coordinator for Mike Leach. So if you have to be defensive coordinator for a air raid team, like, all about being in stressful situations, quick change possession, and, having to figure out ways to create negative plays to help, get the ball back to your team. I'm like, I'll take that guy. And they still got him. They got him as an analyst because things didn't work out for him at UNLV. So it's interesting. He's got Travaris, Travis Williams has got Travaris Robinson's a guy that he's been everywhere, man. And he's a great recruiter, but I don't know how much of a actual defensive savant he is in terms of coordinating a defense. And then on offense, we'll see how Ben Arbuckle does at Oklahoma. He brought his quarterback with him from Washington State, but Brendan Marion ended up going to Sacramento State as the head coach. Chip Lindsey. I don't even know where Chip Lindsey ended up. I don't think he's still at North Carolina. I don't think Belichick kept him. So it's like you look at Joe Craddock from Tulane. So like when you go back and look at these names that were kind of at the top of the list, and then you find out that you're with Tony White and Gus Malzahn, you're like, yeah, man, like they put the best foot forward to go into this season to get this all right.
And look, man, I don't know that when you're like, okay, you're going to replace Adam Fuller with Nebraska's defensive coordinator. Oh, that's okay. Sign me up. You're going to replace Alex Atkins, who I know was kind of an OC, and he wasn't in name only, but he wasn't calling the plays, but he was helping develop the game plan. But you replace him with the UCF head coach, who, by the way, had won 9 games each of the previous 2 seasons. It's not like a UCF coach that was gasping for air. He's won plenty. He's been a head coach for a long time because he's good at calling plays. He's such a good offensive coordinator, he became a head coach in the SEC. So when you just take a step back and be like, you replace Alex Atkins with Gus Malzahn, and you replaced Adam Fuller with Tony White.
Well, you replace Alex Atkins with Gus Malzahn and Herb Hand. If you want, I think you should look at it that way almost, right?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, because Herb Hand has been around for a long time and has worked in some big time, big boy programs too. On the whole, man, I don't know what else you could have wanted. And none of this guarantees success. But at the time, you hiring Tony White was a great hire. It's a great hire. You couldn't have asked for a better resume for an up-and-coming coach from a real program. And then the same with Gus Malzahn. Like, Brendan Marion might be great at Sacramento State. He might end up coaching the NFL one day. And we can look back in 15 years ago, man, they took Gus Malzahn instead of him. But in the moment, who's more of a sure thing? Yeah. It's Gus Malzahn. It doesn't mean Marion might not end up being great, but it's Gus Malzahn. Like these were really good, really good hires, but guys that there's just a baseline of consistency and results that are going to come. Again, he might not have the number 1 defense in the country. He won't. Gus Malzahn is not going to have the number 1 offense in the country. They're not going to be close to dead last either, because that's not how these two guys roll. It just isn't. So that I just think in an offseason coming off 2-10, when you're trying to reset, these are 2 good, really nice buttons to push to reset. And a guy that's one of the most highly thought of young-ish defensive coordinators in the country, and a guy that has been doing it at a high level in this sport for 2.5 decades, or at least 2 decades, in Gus Malzahn. So we'll see how it looks. We'll see how it works. But going into this season, that the bar has been raised significantly in the coach's room. Now let's see what it looks like in practice. All we both know, Aslan, is that Alabama's in trouble.
Hell yeah. Ah, yes, the dog days of summer are here. For a lot of folks, that means sending the kids off to college. For a lot of you, it means you're going to be going off to college. Ask for a gift on your way out. Ask for security. Ask for style. Mom and dad, help your kid out going to college. They're going to lose their wallet probably because they're probably going to get a little tipsy one night. And by little, I mean a lot tipsy. And they're going to lose their wallet. When's the last time you guys lost your wallets? Never, right? But I lost my wallet all the time in college. I wish I had Ridge and their great wallets that now have AirTag compatibility. So get your Apple AirTag, slips right into your money clip on your Ridge wallet. You lose your wallet, quote unquote. You didn't really lose it. You're going to know where it's at because you can track it with the AirTag. Ridge gives you the goods. And they also give you the peace of mind of a lifetime warranty, free shipping, 99-day risk-free trial. Give it a try. Treat yourself. Also treat that young man or woman in your life that's going and seeking out higher education. Use the promo code WAKEUP over at ridge.com to save on your order. Again, the promo code WAKEUP over at ridge.com. We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. We appreciate all of you that support Warchant, Wake Up Warchant, Vitamin Energy, Ridge, whoever else we talk about on here. Corey Clark, I appreciate whoever is out there, singular, group, whomever, that keeps giving Link Jarrett opportunities to make this program, his baseball team, strong and solid, because he certainly deserves it. I think we're definitely on the right track there. Florida State with a pretty big coup over the weekend, feels like, Corey, pulling away Brody Purcell from Southern Cal, USC. Tennessee hot on his trail. He ends up picking Florida State, 6'3" right-hander, 2.11 ERA over 42 innings pitched. Opposing teams, the 177 batting average. He's a righty, too, everybody, which I think I already said. But, yeah, shout out to everybody that keeps allowing this stuff to happen. Really excited about the baseball team is going to continue to be under Link, even though they lost all that great talent we spoke about last week to the MLB draft.
There is a chance. There is a world. Yeah, this is a big pickup, man. Trey Beard and him. Trey Beard, I think, is probably the best starter that was in the portal, at least top 3 or 5. And then this kid is one of the best relievers. To get those two guys kind of on the opposite ends, like bookends, a guy that'll start a game, a guy that'll close a game, and I think Purcell, I feel like you start the season with him as your closer, if that is even a thing in college baseball anymore. He's going to give a lot of innings, and that's a really good pickup. So I don't remember what you said. The 177 batting average against is really impressive. Mm-hmm. I think he gave up 10 earned runs all year, and 5 were in one game. So I think because I wrote the story.
You're right, yeah. 5 total runs combined in his other 26 appearances on the season.
Just understand that, folks. So he gave up 5 runs in an inning to UCLA, where he got the win, by the way. That's because baseball is stupid like that. The other 26 appearances, he gave up 5 total. That's 1 run every 5-ish appearances. Think about Florida State having a guy like that in their bullpen this past year and what that would have meant for the fortunes of that team. That you're talking about an elite-level college reliever. That's awesome. That's really, really good news to go along with Beard. And also they got
Cole Stokes kid from Oregon, I think, is the goods too, man. That kid.
Also, the kid from Virginia's pitched in big moments. The
Bryson
kid from
Moore.
Duke has pitched in big. Nard from Duke,
right? Gabe
the
Nard.
Nard dog.
Yeah,
they've got some dudes where it really looks like that might kind of be the strength of their team. You know that you're going to have Mendez. You know you're going to have Beard as your 2 of your starters. But that bullpen might actually be a strength as opposed to what it was this past year, which is that's flipping the script a little bit. We'll see how that works, but we assume it's going to work well. But, yes, that's staying healthy. It's always a concern. It's always a concern in sports, period, especially with college baseball pitchers or just pitchers in general. It's always a huge concern, staying healthy. If they stay healthy, these guys, it looks like Link is putting together a really nice pitching staff, certainly a bullpen. Now, he will have to do it. We do know now, because we talked about this last week, what was Gage Harrelson going to do, what was Jackson West going to do. Well, they both signed, so they're done. Gage Harrelson and Jackson West both got $150,000 to sign. So I think if you'd have told Aslan or I that teams were going to be offering them that kind of money, we'd have told both of them to go. And they did go. Gage Harrelson, $150,000, go start your career. Same with Jackson West, your pro career, I mean. And then Peyton Prescott also signed on Sunday, and so did Max Williams.
Below slot. I think Lodi signed below slot, too. The disrespect.
They did. Yeah, a lot of below slot. Like the number 1 pick in the draft signed for like $1.5 million below slot.
Wow.
I don't know what that slot is. Obviously just it's an idea. It's not hard and fast. It's not like the NBA or the NFL where it's a straight up, this is what you're signing for. Yeah. It's kind of just a vague, neighborhood you want to sign in. So they Lodi signed with the Braves for like $2 million less maybe than what the slot was for. Max Williams was like $200,000 less than what he was supposed to be slotted for. But they have started their careers, good for them. Peyton Prescott also, he's going to be out. He was going to be out for the year anyway. But yeah, so now you know your leadoff spot's going to be Chase Williams for sure, but you're going to need another outfielder. Maybe that's Sheffield. And your catcher looks like it's Hunter Carnes, who, again, continues to mash in the Cape Cod League. I wrote about him and Cal Fisher, both making the All-Star team up the Cape Cod League. That's a really big deal. Hunter Carnes is I think he's 4th in slugging, 9th in on-base percentage. He's got more walks than strikeouts. So does Cal Fisher, by the way. They both have really impressive years up there. For the ones that don't know, that's a wood bat league. It's the preeminent summer league in the country. It's a lot of dudes that will be drafted next year playing in that league. This is the best of the rising sophomores and juniors in the college game. And they're playing with wood bats, so the numbers aren't outrageous. And to make people feel even better, going back to last year, one of the top performers in the entire league last year was Eli Putnam, who was the transfer from Davidson that is now coming to Florida State. He had a slugging percentage. He was second in the Cape Cod League last year.
530.
In slug. Yep. Yeah, in slugging.
Yep.
That's really impressive. So that is a guy that's being put right into your lineup who could replicate what you got out of Faroe. And I only say Faroe because he probably will be playing second base. He might play third. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Cal Fisher. Cal Fisher's been playing shortstop in the Cape, so maybe Fisher's your new shortstop. If Putnam plays third, Putnam plays second. But I think you're going to get at least the basement level. Again, I don't even want to say that because Faroe was good. Faroe's a good college
really
hitter.
Good, man. Faroe's awesome.
Yeah. But I think Putnam can at least give you what Faroe gave you, ish, in those numbers. And not because of what he did at Davidson, where he was very good there too and put up good numbers and was their best hitter, but what he did in the Cape last year was really, really impressive. So, anyway, I still think they have some holes to fill offensively. They got to figure some stuff out. I'll be honest, I don't know if a portal opens up again for baseball after this next semester in December. I literally have no idea. I probably should. Maybe it's just a one-time window in baseball. I'm not sure. Or maybe they can go back in the portal and get a little more help offensively after they go through their fall. But I do like what they've done with the pitching. And Purcell is a really big pickup.
Can't find anything definitive. I apologize.
I tried to talk long enough for you to get there.
You did, but I couldn't find it.
I ran out of steam. I apologize for that.
It's okie doke. I don't think there's anything else that's on my mind that I want to bother you with, Corey. So
okay,
I'll let you
good.
Let you take
Tired
a breather.
Let's
take a breather.
So when are you getting to Charlotte? You're getting to Charlotte Monday afternoon, Monday evening?
Yeah, probably Monday evening. Irish show fella and I hitting the road.
Yep.
Road dog. So
how are we going to record up there?
I don't know. Aren't you going to?
Are we going to do a show from Radio Row, you and I?
Yes, for sure. Right, we have to.
But I mean, tape it like we're doing now, record a show live.
We always would.
That's what I thought.
Because Florida, not to air out our plans or whatever on here, but I mean, so Wednesday we're going to talk to Florida State first thing in the morning, and then they're going to be done doing all their rotations by high noon. So yeah, we'll probably record a show, you and I, on Radio Row at 1 p.m. and then you can get on the road and go wherever you got to go after that. So
I might have to write, but yeah, you're right. I'd rather do the show first and then write, but we'll see what old iPod lets us do. But yeah, that's the plan. So yeah, they get just to recap. We won't probably do a show before that, will we? Or will we? Tuesday might be hard because it's a travel day for me.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'll be settled. I don't know when you'll be settled from ACC Media Day, but I can always do one. Either way, folks.
Twist Ira's arm, maybe.
Yeah, Ira could step in. You're gonna have at least 2 more beautiful Wake Up Warchants for this week, and then I feel like next week, Aslan. Say it. Practice starts. Not this week coming up. We're going to go through another full week with no football practice. But I feel like if you're playing August 30th, you're probably going to start practice. We don't have the update. We don't have the practice schedule for the month yet, or for the preseason. But I do think you're looking at July 30th, probably 29th, 30th, 31st, somewhere in there. So sometime next week is when football practice starts. And then we're in August, and then the football season's here. We did it, gang. We did it. We just got to go through 3 weeks of the Little League World Series on our TVs every minute of every day. But after that, college football's here, baby.
For what it's worth, last year the first day of camp was July 24th on a Wednesday, and the game
that's because they had the
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Week 0 game.
Yeah. So that was it. The 26th or the 24th? I forgot when we were in Dublin for the game.
So you would think though, if they're starting a week,
it was
later,
24th,
which they are.
Yeah. So they're going to start like 30 days. Yeah. So
you'd start right around the 1 month out from when the game is. So, yeah, you're looking at sometime next week. Sometime in the middle of next week.
Unbelievable.
College football practice will start.
Will we be able to watch? Who knows?
Probably not. That's all right, I guess. Mike, be you. But that's all right. That means you and I can sleep in. We don't have to get up at 7:30 to go watch guys. We don't have to go watch football practice. We can just go talk to them afterwards.
Yeah.
He better not pull the tag. Didn't Taggart make us talk to them before practice?
Yes.
The worst of both worlds. We had to get up early and then not watch practice.
Oh, man. I had a thought on Willie the other day, but maybe that's for another show.
Hey, he's making money. Coaching Derrick Henry. Good for him.
When's the last time you and I did a roadie, Corey? Was it, by the way, I need to say this. I apologize. I took so long. Everybody got upset. I shouldn't say upset, but when we were going out from talking, generating discussion sparked by Cummins, which was changing up the overtime rules. I'm like, we'll see if Florida State's going to be another overtime game this season. I don't think they've been in an overtime game since against the Notre Dame game in 2021. And you're like, yeah, that sounds about right. And I'm like, all right, goodbye, everybody. And everybody got mad. They're like, how could you forget Clemson 2023?
Oh, man, that game was a lot. That game was locked. Yeah. As soon as Deloach picked up the fumble, that game was over. It's just a matter of time.
Because it ended so fast in overtime, right? Like it was
6 plays.
Yeah, it was a bang.
So Florida State scored on the second play, and then Clemson got the fourth down pass batted down. So, yeah, it was 6 plays. But, yeah, we clearly should have – but it didn't feel like overtime.
It didn't because it was so fast.
There wasn't like a swapping of the field.
It was a
or
noon
each team
game.
Scoring.
Yeah, it was like a noon game, really quick overtime. It didn't feel like – I mean, that Notre Dame game, like that was intense, really intense overtime.
I guess each team only got the ball once there because Fitz missed and then they made their kick. But whatever. Doesn't matter. Who cares?
Yeah.
Our fault, everyone.
Yeah. So
our fault.
I don't know the last time you and I were in a car together. Maybe it was going out to New Orleans.
Probably the New Orleans trip, in 22.
Yeah. But usually, Ira and I do these trips. Every 2 years we go down to Miami, and it's he and I that are riding down there. I talk his ear off, which I don't like sitting in silence. But like I'll talk all the time, and then if I stop talking for a little bit, like he'll turn the music on. Which then it feels weird having music on in the car with 2 people. Because it's like, well, what if I don't like the song? I have to sit here and hear the whole song. I'd rather just talk to you the whole time. But I'm sure you get sick of hearing me talk the whole time.
I feel like as the music's at a normal volume, you can talk and listen to music.
If
it's a cool song, you turn it up.
I got to read the room right. Like there'll be sometimes he'll get the volume a little bit up. I'm like, all right, it's a Springsteen song. Lay out on this one.
Or Nickelback.
Hey.
Or Public Enemy. He's weirdly a Nickelback fan and like a Public Enemy fan because that's Ira. Ira's an enigma, man. He's all about the old school rap. So if he hears Public Enemy, he's going to start rapping to that, and he's going to sing to Springsteen and Nickelback.
All right, that's a wrap for us, everybody. Jeff Cameron show coming up. Are you guys going to do headlines this week, Corey, or that might be tricky?
Don't think so. I think that's going to be off the table because of the trip.
Okay. Well, warchant.com's got you covered across all mediums, podcasts, written word, video. And we're always open because we're a website. That's how it works. So click on it, everybody. He's Corey Maslin. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com.